Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to hopefully this will be will actually be a more fun video.
Positive.
Positive, yeah. Um, One of my friends on Facebook, she posted a meme. When you say "I seen," I assume you won't finish that sentence with the inside of a book. I see, I saw, I have seen. Okay, I will admit my English is not great. My English isn't even good, and it's the only language I speak today. I chalk some of it up to the fact that I wasn't born with English. I don't know how old I was before I started.
Second speed Deutsch.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Yeah, I started with Spanish, then I went to German. I was introduced to Serbo-Croatian, but I don't know if I ever learned it. And my next language probably would have been English. And then after that, it would have been Okinawan and Japanese. And no, they're not the same languages. But all I speak is English today. When I was 14 years old, my mother said, "You're an American now. Americans speak English, not Spanish." So I wanted to please her so bad that I stopped speaking Spanish. I mean, I completely wiped it out. I'm gonna get to the point in a second. But I was when I was still in San Antonio, I was at this taco stand, and I'm waiting for my order, and there are these two ladies, and they're having a conversation in Spanish, and I'm standing there. I understood everything they said. I
Kind
didn't.
of scary.
Yeah, I didn't translate it into English. I understood everything they said. It wasn't until they broke into English that I went, "Oh my goodness, what did I just do?" So
You weren't
anyway,
even really trying to
no,
understand it.
yeah. See, that's the thing though. How do I relax and just let it flow? But here's the thing: in elementary school in Alief, Texas, back when Alief was a farming community, Alief was sort of a mixture of still being a farming community and the outskirts of the suburbs. So you kind of had a mix of things there. But it's like I say soda water. Soda water is a rural Texas term for
Soda.
soda, Coke, Pepsi, whatever. But anyway, I had a friend,
Or soda
Chris,
pop.
soda pop. Yeah, New York, I think they say that.
Pop.
Yeah, Chris Behrens. That was his name, Chris Behrens. And this is after the summer holidays, and after the summer holidays, the teacher says, "Okay, what did everybody do on their summer vacation?"
I hate that when they do that.
Well, Chris,
First thing in school, yeah.
Chris, he says, and we weren't getting up in front of the class. We just stayed in our chairs and
What did you
talked.
do over your summer vacation?
Mhm.
Bored to death after about the first 2 weeks.
Well, he said, "I went up to them there hills."
Them dar hills.
Oh boy.
Those golden, there's gold in them dar hills.
Our teacher
Kind
ragged
of fit, huh?
yeah ragged on him for the rest of the year.
Oh,
Them there hills.
them dar hills.
Um, which I reckon. See, reckon. I reckon. I figure. I whatever. That should give you a hint as to
Reckon.
how country we were. But my grandmother on my mom's side was a school teacher, and they lived in a much smaller community than I lived in. And when my mom and uncle would say things like "ain't," she's like, "No, you no,
Aren't.
yeah, the ain't
There's no such word as ain't.
right." And she said, "Just because you're a country kid, just because you're poor, doesn't mean you're dumb. You can still be poor and be educated." And I think that's an important lesson.
Well, I think like my father only had like a third grade education.
But he spoke properly, didn't he?
Well, yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much, yeah. And
Well, after he had been through the military and the three C's, Civil Conservation Corps. And first he's in the three C's, then he was in the military. So.
But I also think education back then, by the time you get to third grade, at one time, I don't know about today, but at one time, you should be your English should be pretty good. Now, again, I admit English isn't my native language, but
he didn't. His spelling kind of suffered, and his handwriting was very simplistic. But you're talking about a man who probably never went to school most of his life, and probably learned it from his sisters and brothers and sisters and whoever, because he had to work to support the family, because his father died when he was about 13 years old.
Oh. Well, and where my mother and uncle grew up, the girls would go to school. The boys went to school just some of the time.
Well, I think he just went some of the time too.
Because the boys had to help out on the farms.
Yeah, because he was a sharecropper on cotton, thick cotton.
Oh. So.
Thick cotton. And he started as a kid. He said the bag was bigger than he was.
Oh yeah, those bags are long. They're really long.
And he had to use a pocket knife to cut the cotton off of the plants. You don't just pick it off.
No, well, when it gets to a certain point, it comes out.
I actually tried. You can bend the stem. It's kind of woody like a tree limb, but it doesn't snap like a tree limb does.
Well, I just pulled them out.
It's just flexible. I mean, it just bend back and forth. It won't cut.
Oh, I didn't take that off. I just went in the bowl.
Oh, I did.
When the bowl dries up, the ball will just kind of.
Well, I had my dad stop. We were in the middle of cotton farmland.
Oh, maybe it wasn't quite time to pick them.
They were cotton balls looking, but
Yeah.
they weren't quite ready. And my dad says, "You know how much you got that farmer?" I said, "I don't know." And I don't really. I'm sure the government will make up for it. You know, one thing of one branch of a cotton plant.
Well,
It's not like I took the whole damn acre or something.
You used to see them prisoners out there at the prison in Sugar Land.
I bet that was hell.
Oh boy, you know, I knew
Hot.
Yeah, I knew this old boy who.
Because you're out in the sun all day, you cook.
Yeah, I knew this old boy that spent some time in the prison at Sugar Land. Yes, I've known two people that went to prison. Anyway, he said he would rather get out there in the fields and work because it gave you something to do rather than
think about.
Rather than just laying in your cell all day. But I remember back in the 70s, my goodness, early and mid 70s, them old boys be out there, and you have to work. You can't go slow either. I mean, you're working. If you don't, the guards would get on your case, and what they would do is they get them horses, because the guards would be, some of them would be on horseback, and they'd have like a shotgun or a rifle over their shoulder, or in the
have the horse bite you.
Yeah, that's what they would do. They would have the horse walk up behind you and bite you if they didn't think you were working fast enough or hard enough.
That would hurt.
Yeah. So, and you're a prisoner. You don't slap that horse.
You want to.
Yeah. But
I mean, I know there's a couple of times my father wanted to slap a German Shepherd because he was stationed in, I think, Steamboat Springs, Colorado, and he was on MP duty, and he had the dog, and the dog took off after a snowshoe rabbit and dragging him along with it.
Oh, goodness.
I bet my dad was ready to shoot him.
So anyway, so I wanted to say...
Wouldn't blame him, though.
So I wanted to say, up in them there hills, Chris Behrens, I wish I could find the old boy, but I say things like reckon, old boy, yonder. Yeah, I know. We live in New Hampshire, and I talk like I'm from down south.
No, you are.
I am, Actually, the interesting thing, this is the first time in my life I haven't lived, well, actually, we are in southern New Hampshire.
Well, we're not there. We're up north.
At least we're not down south. I live Spain.
Down south
in Spain.
I'm from Louisiana.
I'm from southern Spain. We lived in the southern part of West Germany. Southern Okinawa, actually more central. South Texas, Southeast Texas. This is the first time in my life I haven't lived, everything being south. Yes, okay, it's still southern New Hampshire, but that's okay. At least it's not wherever. So, English. I admit my English is not very good, but at least, what was his meme again? I don't say, I done did. That was something I used to say, I done did. That doesn't actually make any sense. If you don't know what I done did means, it means I did it. I already
We've
did
already
it.
done it.
Yeah, I've already done it. See if I can think of any other. Can you think of any other of those kind of?
I don't know.
No,
Right offhand, I can't.
but I done did reckon.
I reckon so.
Yeah, I reckon the cotton's going to be ready in a couple of weeks. Well, anyway, but here's one. I was playing down in the bayou, and I ran home, ran to the house. We lived on Pompano Lane, 11623 Pompano Lane, and our phone number was 713-498-8639. That's the very first house, the very first phone number we had in the United States. Anyway, I ran up from the bayou, and I said, "Mom, Mom, Mama, something done happened down yonder." And she said, "Where?" I said, "Down yonder." "Where?" "Down yonder." "Where?" "Down yonder." Oh, down yonder doesn't actually specify any particular place, does it? Doesn't really mean anything. So around that time, I stopped saying things like that, or I stopped using that phrase to, at least around her. So anyway, a boy from Spain who speaks Southern Texas hick. Anyway, bye.